Hello Google 102 participants, welcome back. Today we're going to be learning about Google Drawing Basics Part 2. Hopefully you had a lot of learning in Part 1. Last time we did that those objectives on the left side in the gray. Today in Part 2 we're going to focus on selecting objects, aligning objects, changing object colors, cropping and masking images, downloading drawings, and then inserting drawings into Google Docs, which is part of your implementation. And again, the way we do this is I do, read the instructions, then we do, listen and do it together, and then you do it independently. So depending on what you need, you may be doing this each task 1 to 2 times. And again, feel free to pause your videos and go back, rewatch, whatever you need. The first thing we're going to do today is learn how to select objects. So what you're going to do is you're going to start by clicking the Select tool. That's this blue arrow, or sometimes it's black, in the toolbar. Next, you're going to choose how you're going to select your group of objects. Will you, in this top example, drag and draw a rectangle around those objects? That's one way to do it. I do it often. Or do you want to select all the objects by pressing Control A, which is select all, A for all? Or a third option, which I also use a lot, is if you want to only select certain objects, you don't want all of them or a rectangle of objects, you want an object up here and down here and over here, well then you can hold Shift and click one object at a time. And while you're holding Shift, it will select all of the objects that you click on. Let me show you what this looks like. So here I am in my Google drawing from last time. Oh my gosh, it is so busy. I need to select some objects. The first thing I can do is I can click in the top right-hand corner, drag a big rectangle, and then I have to find, but you can't select tables, only objects. You know your selected objects when there's a blue line with blue square corners. Grab one of those corners. I'm going to hold Shift, intermediates and advanced, to keep everything in proportion, and I'm going to drag it towards the middle of my drawing. Alright, so that's one way, but maybe that's a little too complicated. Maybe I don't like the whole dragging and dropping thing. By the way, I pressed Control Z to undo what I just did. Maybe I don't want to think about dragging and dropping, I just want to select everything. So I'm going to press Control A, and now everything's selected. But I don't have my blue corners here. That's because this table has been selected too. So I need to hold Shift and then unselect that table. Intermediates and advanced. Beginners, just let this flow over you. You just need to remember Control A selects all. Then you're going to find that blue rectangle in the top or right or bottom or whatever corner and drag it towards the center. And then I'm going to drag everything up there since they're all selected. Okay. Now, the way that I like to select objects is I like to hold down the Shift button and select one at a time. Because maybe I'm going to try that. I'm going to hold down Shift, and I want this Bitmoji, I want Jennifer's Bitmoji, I want this rocket, and I want this star. If I were to draw a rectangle or press Select All, I would get all of that, but I don't want all of that. I just want those 4 things. Now, I've taken my finger off the Shift button. They're still selected. Now, if my arrow is that crosshairs with 4 arrows, like a compass, then I can click, drag, and move those objects and change the size of them. I'm going to hold Shift to keep them in the same proportion and do whatever I want with them. So that is how you select objects. I would like you to try all 3 ways of selecting objects in your Google Doc. Go ahead and pause this video, and when you're done, unpause it, and we'll go on to the next task. All right. Hopefully you were able to practice all three ways of selecting objects. Next, now that we have a bunch of objects in our Google Drawing, it's time to arrange the objects. So here's how you arrange objects. First, you select your objects, whether it's Shift, click, 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 or Select All. Then you're going to go up to the Arrange menu. Next, you go down to, then this is a menu of all the things that you can do. You can either align your objects, you can distribute them evenly amongst a space, you can center them on the page, you can rotate them or flip them around, or you can group them all together so they all stay together as you move them about. So let's see how this looks. So in order to do this, it says I need to select my objects. Now here's what I'm going to do. I kind of want to start with a blank slate because my Google Drawing is a little cluttered. How do I select all? Control what? Control A. I just selected everything. Now I'm going to press backspace or delete. Now if Jennifer wants to go back in time, she could use version history, but for the purposes of us, I'm just going to press backspace. I'm going to briefly create some shapes. So I'm going to hold Shift to create a perfect square. I'm going to hold Shift to create a perfect triangle. When I say perfect, I mean they have this equal height and width. And then I'm going to create a perfect circle by holding Shift, and dragging out my shape. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is select these. So I'm holding down Shift, 1, 2, 3. Now they're all selected. Then I go up to Arrange, and now I see all of these options I have to choose from. So go ahead and pause this video and practice these steps to prepare to arrange your objects. All right, we're back. Hopefully you've selected all of your objects and you are ready to arrange them. The first thing we're going to try out is arranging them by using alignment. So select your objects, then click Arrange, that menu item, go down to Align, and then you can either align them horizontally, like maybe over on the left side or on the right side, or maybe you want to align them in the center of your page. So let's see what that looks like. Or you can also choose to align them vertically. Maybe you want them on the top or on the bottom or somewhere in the middle. So let's try that together. I have my shapes selected. I go to Arrange. I go down to Align. And let's try arranging them to the left. Oh, it moves all of them in a pile to the left. Control Z to undo that. Let me try something else. I'm going to go to Arrange, Align. Let me put them in the center. Oh, it just stacks them in the center. Okay, well, that could be helpful if you're trying to gather all things into the center or make a pile of something. I want to try something different. I'm going to go to Arrange, Align. Now I'm going to look at the vertical menu. What if I arrange them or align them at the bottom? What would happen? Oh, they didn't move. Oh, you know what? I guess let me try moving them in different spots to see what happens. Control A to select all. Arrange. Align. Top. Oh, interesting. So it goes to the topmost shape and it aligns it at the top of that shape. And if I just press Control Z to undo. Align. Let's do it at the bottom now. Okay, it goes to the bottommost shape. So wherever the top or the bottommost shape is or object, it goes up or down to that space. All right. Go ahead and pause this video and take a moment to practice aligning your shapes. All right, we're back. Let's go to the next thing. Let's try arranging objects by distributing them. This one I think is more helpful. First, you're going to select your objects, click the Arrange menu, go down to Distribute, and you're going to determine if you want to distribute them equally horizontally or vertically. let's take a look at what this might look like. I'm going to make these a lot smaller, and I'm going to control intermediates and advanced. Control D equals duplicate. So I'm going to hold down Control and tap D, 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 D. And then I'm just going to spread them out all over the place. Totally messy, whatever. Okay, I have a bunch of objects. Control A to select all. I'm going to go up to Arrange. And you know what? Let's align these in the middle. I want it kind of in the middle of the page, so let's do that. Oh, nice. Next, I want to distribute them so they're equally set apart. So I'm going to go to Arrange, Distribute, and let's do it horizontally. So each of them, they're all cluttered together. Let's try it with less shapes. I have a feeling this will be better. Actually, I'm just going to draw a square around a bunch of them, delete them, move this one out here. Okay, let's try it this way. So they're all kind of clumped together in not a particular appealing order. I'm going to select all of them, Arrange, Distribute, and let's distribute them horizontally. Ooh, nice. I like that. That's ducks in a row right there. So each of them are spaced out equally with equal distance in between each shape. Nice. And if I had them scattered, here, let me undo all that. And if I had them scattered up and down like this, and if I went to Arrange, Distribute, and did it vertically, it would distribute them equally like this. So, go ahead and pause the video and play around with the Align feature and the Distribute feature and see if you can get your ducks in a row. Alright, we are back. Let's go on to the next Arrange. This just says Arrange Center on Page. We can do that horizontally or vertically by selecting our objects, going to the Arrange menu, going down to Center on Page, and then choosing horizontally or vertically. So let's try that. So I have everything selected. I go to Arrange. I go down to Center on Page. What's going to happen if I center them horizontally? Oh, it just moves everything to the center of the page. Okay. What if I go to Arrange, Center on the Page vertically? Well, I guess they're already vertical. So I'd have to do Control Z, undo. Let's put them down here, make them a little smaller. And then let's put some up here, over here, and over here. Control A to select all. I'm going to click on Arrange, Center on Page. Let's try it horizontally again. Oh, it doesn't really move them into the center, it just moves the whole group of shapes to the center. So if the shapes were all down here in this corner, like I was planning on, Control A to select all, Arrange, Center of Page, horizontally, it shifts them over horizontally. And then Arrange, Center on Page vertically, it brings it into the exact center. Good to know. Alright, go ahead and pause the video and experiment with Center on Page. Alright, let's keep on going. The last thing, or almost the last thing we're going to do, which I find this to be most helpful, is rotating. And we can select one object or many objects to rotate them, but what we do is we select the object or objects, we go to Arrange, we go down to Rotate, and then we decide, oh, ignore horizontal, vertical. It's either rotate clockwise 90 degrees, counterclockwise, flip horizontally, or flip vertically. So one way to illustrate this, the counterclockwise, there's me getting ready to do a cartwheel. It's going to flip me over 90 degrees this way, and then I end up like this. On this example, it's going to rotate me the counterclockwise 90 degrees, and then I end up like that. Now, if you do a flip horizontally, the first one is let's party, but then when you flip it, it does like the mirror effect. And the words are backwards, so that's not super helpful. And then flipping vertically, my first image is me saying let's go and running on a flat earth looking situation. But then when I flip it, it goes upside down and like a mirror, or like looking at the reflection on a lake, and the words are all weird. So that's a little bit about what rotation looks like. Let's experiment. I'm going to grab a Bitmoji because I want to. I'm going to upload from my computer. If you have the Bitmoji extension, you can just grab that. That'll work. So first, I'm going to rotate this 90 degrees. Click Arrange, go down to Rotate, rotate clockwise 90 degrees. And now I'm pointing to the right. If I click Arrange, Rotate, and rotate counterclockwise 90 degrees, it will put me back, going back 90 degrees to the left. If I click Arrange, oh, by the way, Intermediates and Advanced, instead of going up to the menu, you can also right-click, go down to Rotate, and then do it this way. I do this all the time. I'm constantly flipping images, especially if they don't have words. I'm going to flip this one horizontally. Watch this. 3, 2, 1, flip. And now he's pointing up here on this side. Right-click, or go to Arrange, Rotate. Watch what happens when I flip vertically. It's like I'm doing a handstand on my finger. I'm going to press Ctrl-Z, undo. If I want to rotate physically, like manually decide the rotation, look at this blue little circle once my object is selected, and I can click, and it will show me in numbers the degrees I'm leaning towards. So if I want to do 45 degrees, I can let go, and now I've rotated 45 degrees to that angle. And you can spin them all around and do whatever. So, what I'd like you to do is I'd like you to pause this video, insert some new images or objects, and I would like you to practice rotating them. All right, welcome back. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to learn how to group. So if you have multiple objects, you're going to select those objects, go to Arrange menu, go down to Group, and the objects will be grouped together so that any changes or movement will affect the whole group. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to press Ctrl-Z a bunch of times and go back in time to this group of shapes. They're all selected. If you want to select all of them, you can drag a rectangle or select one at a time by holding Shift and clicking, or just Control-A, select all. If I want to group these, I select them, then I go to Arrange and Group. And now they're all grouped. So if I move one, I move all of them. If I change the color on one, I change the color on all of them. Same with the border, thickness, whatever. So, what I would like you to do is pause the video and take a moment to group some objects. Alright, welcome back. The next thing we're going to do is talk about changing shape colors. So this is what you do. You're going to have to select a shape. Then you're going to click this little paint can that looks like it's tipping over and dripping paint. That's the fill color. Then you're going to choose whether you want a solid color, like this solid blue right here, or if you want a gradient, which are grades of colors. You have multiple colors that are kind of fading in and out of each other. Or you can even customize your solid or your gradient to create your own unique color schemes. Let me show you what this looks like. I'm going to press Ctrl-Z to undo to go back in time. Let's make this that boring blue. I'm going to draw a rectangle around most of them. And nope. Oh, they're grouped. If I delete one, I delete all of them. right-click or two-finger tap, and then go to Ungroup. Or you can also go to Arrange and Ungroup. I want them separated now. Let's take a few of these objects, and I'm going to make them a little bigger. Oh, notice how they turned into ovals and long triangles? I didn't hold Shift. Watch what happens when I hold Shift. Holding Shift, drag the corners, they keep in proportion, that same ratio and dimensions. Alright, so I've selected my object. I'm going to go to the paint can right up here, or the fill color. I can make it transparent, so I can see through it and it's just a border, which is actually kind of helpful. So if I put something, I can put that in front of another object or whatever. Fill color, I can choose any of these colors. Let's go with this unique color. Now, if I wanted to customize my solid color, I can click on the fill button again, and I can go to custom. And then I get this little color thing, and notice this hex code at the top. As I move this little circle, it's changing that hex code. So if you were to find another hex code of a color you liked, you could paste it into here, press enter, and it will take on whatever color that you found the hex code for. Or you can change the hue. Oh, all sorts of hues. Or you can change how transparent your color is. Do you want it 50% transparent or totally transparent? Let's try 50%. Okay. Ooh, 50%. I can see through it. It's like a magnifying glass. How cool is that? Now, let's go on to another shape. Let's say, sure, I like solid colors. There's some fun things you can do, but I want to try a color gradient. Then I'm going to click on the fill color, go to gradient instead of solid. And then I can click any of these preset color combinations or color gradients. So it kind of fades in from dark to light or from the inside to the outside, all sorts of things. But let's say you wanted to make one of your own. Let's do a different one. Let's do this yellow one. No, let's do red. So this is a cool gradient, but I want to customize it. So I'm going to click on Fill Color. I'm still on Gradient. Then I'm going to go down to Customize. And here is the color. And these two squares or dots, this is where the color starts. This is where the color ends. I can choose linear or radial. Radial means it radiates from the center. But I'm going to keep it linear, which is more like a line, up and down. I can choose the angle, 0 angle, 90 degrees, 180. So it shifts this color to different places. I can also add a color gradient stop. So I'm going to add one here, move it over here, and choose a different color. Boom. Orange. Add another one. Move it over here. Choose a color. Let's try something weird like blue. Oh, that's so bizarre. I'm going to click OK. And there's my amazing triangle in all of its glory. So guys, I want you to take a few minutes, or 1 or 2 minutes, to play around with changing the shape's colors. Try a solid color, try customizing it, and then try a gradient color and try customizing it. Alright, we are back. Next, we're going to learn how to crop an image. This is super helpful because sometimes you have an image and it has a bunch of stuff you don't need. You just need to focus and frame it into one place on that image. You do that with the cropping tool. So here's what you're going to do. You're going to select an image. You need to make sure that you click on it. So insert an image, select it. You'll know it's selected when it has a blue border with blue squares all around it. That's how you know it's selected. Then you're going to click on this crop tool. Notice it shows the corners of a frame and you kind of bring them out or bring them in as you need to. Then you're going to look in the corner of your picture because now you have these black little cropping handles. And if you mouse over the top right corner, you'll see this little black arrow, and it's a one-directional arrow pointing out. But you're not going to pull it out. You're going to pull that arrow in to the center. So you pull that towards the middle of your picture, like in this picture frame. I'm pulling this black arrow towards the corner because I want to crop out this picture. Then you can drag the other lines, the other black sides and corners, you can drag those all in until you have the shape that you want. Then the last thing you do is you click on the outside of your image, and then you will see your cropped image. Let's see what this looks like. Since we're not going to use shapes, I'm going to select them and press delete. I'm going to insert an image. Let's see if this is a funny meme. It ain't much, but it's honest work. Alright, this is my meme. And let's say I really like this meme, but I don't want it to say, but it's honest work. I want it to say it ain't much. And I only want to see this guy's head and the top of this field. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to select the image. I'm going to click on this crop image tool. Then I'm going to make sure I have that little black arrow in the corner. Once I see that little black arrow, diagonal one-way directional arrow, I'm going to click and drag that, and notice it shows a little line, and it shows that this part of the image is faded out. That means we're not going to see that. But I still don't want to see, but it's honest work. So I'm going to go to the bottom, and I'm going to drag this black handle with that down arrow, and I'm going to drag it up. I just want to see his face, but I don't want all this extra space over here. I'm going to go to over this side and drag it in this way. And then when I'm done, I click on the outside. I can make my image bigger, and there is my cropped image. Go ahead and pause the video and practice cropping an image on your own. Make sure it's a picture or an image of something. Alright, we're back. Now, we talked about cropping an image, but there's also a way to mask an image. And let me show you what that looks like. It's the same strategy as cropping. I'm going to go backwards. Control Z, undo. But instead of, I'm going to select my image, but instead of selecting the crop image, see if you can see to the right side of that, there's a little pull-down menu, and when you mouse over it with your cursor, it says Mask Image. And if I click on that, well, it gives me a bunch of shapes to choose from. I don't want to insert a shape, but see, it's not going to insert a shape. It's going to crop this image into a shape. So if I wanted to crop this into like a circle, I could go down here, click on circle, and look what happens. It made it into a circle. Then I can click the crop button and bring in that circle mask to show what I want it to show. I could also move that circle where I want it. It ain't, but it's honest. Now I'm going to bring it up a little, a little higher. I'm going to grab that cropping tool, and I'm just going to say it ain't. So that is how you crop using the masking tool. For my intermediates and advanced, I'd like you to pause the video and go ahead and do that. Beginners, don't even worry about it. You don't need to know this right now. All right, I'm going to move on. So let's say you've created an amazing graphic in Google Drawings and you want to download it so you can share it in some form or another. As soon as you download it, it is no longer collaborative, and it is no longer editable, and it is no longer changeable or improvable. So when you download something, it's like setting it in stone. You're saying, this is as good as it's ever going to be. It can't be improved. It will not be improved in the future. I want it in this state right here, which is fine, if that's what you want. But let's say you want it in like a document format. You can click File, Download, and choose PDF. That stands for Portable Document Format. I also like to say Printable Document Format because once it's in PDF, you can't really copy and paste it over to a doc. It's just really, it's kind of set in stone. So it's great for printing documents and setting in stone. Now, if you choose JPEG, that stands for Joint Photographic Experts Group, and that's a very common image file. When you search for Google Images, you find a lot of JPEGs. Or you can select PNG, that stands for Portable Network Graphics. These are higher quality images. Many times you can make them transparent, so you see one part of the subject, but it's transparent. It's just their outline cut out. And many times the PNGs are website images. Now, if you're a graphic designer, you can download your Google Drawing as an SVG file. That's Scalable Vector Graphics. Those are very high quality, high resolution, and as you enlarge, it keeps the same resolution, and it's used by graphic designers. I also think it keeps the same size. No, I think that would increase in size. So anyways, this is how you download your Google Drawings. Of course, this is beautiful, obviously. Okay, beginners, I'm going to ask you to just kind of think about something else or go up and get a drink. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into File, Version History, and see Version History, because this version I'm not a fan. Here's today. I'm going to click on this pull down menu, Intermediates and Advanced. I'm going to go back in time and find my favorite Google Drawing. I really liked when Jennifer and I were collaborating, so let me go back even for, oh, that is beautiful. That's what I want. Glorious. I'm going to restore my Google Drawing to this version. 3, 2, 1. Oh, restore this version. Your current document will revert to the version from today at 10:06 a.m. Yes. And now it's been restored. It's like going back in time. Amazing. So, all right, beginners, come on back. So, if I want to download this, I'm going to go to File. I'm going to go to Download. And for this one, I'm going to choose a PNG. When I click it, you'll notice the download bar will be activated. It will download, and then that can be inserted into a website or a Canvas course or a Google Classroom or whatever. Notice how the background is gray? The reason why is because I did not choose a background. So it's transparent. So if I were to paste this into something else, like let me try this. Let me try pasting it in there. So I'm going to grab this, paste it in there, and it's all transparent. I can see the blue and red and yellow shapes behind this image. If I wanted to make this background white, I can right-click on that background, go to Background, and choose White. Now it would be a solid white. It would not be transparent. So that is how you download a Google Drawing. Go ahead and pause this video and try out 1 or 2 formats to download this drawing. Ladies and gentlemen, this is our last task for today, and this is also on your implementation number 2 that you will showcase in week 7. You need to demonstrate that you can insert a Google Drawing into a Google Doc. So this is how you do it. First, you create a Google Drawing, pre-made. Then you open a Google Doc. Then in the Google Doc, you click Insert. Then you select your drawing, and then you choose From Drive. Then you're going to select your drawing, and then Insert. So you see this graphic happening. It's showing you Insert, Drawing, From Drive. You select your drawing, and then you click Select, and then Insert. So let's see what that looks like. I'm going to go to another Google Drawing, or a Google Doc. I'm going to press Enter. Oh, that was a nice image. I want to keep that. This was one of our Tech Tuesdays that we sent out, I think back in February. So I've put my cursor where I want to insert my drawing. The way you insert a drawing is you create that drawing first, you open a Google Doc, In the Google Doc, you click Insert, Drawing, and then From Drive. Then you select your drawing, and if you want to see what it looks like, you can even switch between Grid View and List View. I want this one. This is my amazing Google drawing that I've created. I'm going to select that. Link to source. Only editors can update the drawing. Collaborators can see a link to the source. Sure. Insert. And now I have inserted my Google drawing into a Google Doc, which is doing things that you cannot do in a Google Doc because you're using Google Drawings. Go ahead and pause this video and take a moment to insert a drawing into Google Docs. Wow, guys, that is the end of Google Drawing Basics Part 2. I hope you've learned something, and you're going to learn more about what's expected for your implementation so that you can create your Google drawings. There's going to be 2 of them that will be inserted into a Google Doc, and I look forward to seeing you guys next time. Have a great day.